I find it so hard to think about Zach and Rebecca, the people that Sir Keir Starmer talked about in PMQs, to think about these two people having their mortgage offer rejected because of Kwasi Kwarteng's mini budget. I find it really hard to think of that when what Kwasi Kwarteng has actually done is exactly the same as Zach and Rebecca were trying to do. They were simply trying to borrow money. And that's exactly what the Chancellor has done. The Chancellor's just done it in a bigger way. That's all. And the Chancellor did it initially. He hasn't changed his plans, as far as I can see, or Liz Truss hasn't changed her plans. This obsession with ideology. She calculated initially on a £30 billion headroom. And that's gone. And what she's ended up doing is insisting on using the money she wanted, on borrowing what she intended in the first place, and more, and driving a hole through our economy. Warren Buffett, to misquote Warren Buffett, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and Liz Truss to ruin it. No matter if it's fair, if it's deserved, or if it's plain wrong, this is the blunt reality. And I think the Buffett quotation should now be revised in all our textbooks. And what the King said to Liz Truss, to the Prime Minister, when he welcomed her into Buckingham Palace, it looks and sounds like commiseration. It may not be, dear oh dear, but the mood music that Liz Truss brings with her, the mood music colours everything. Whatever she touches, like a reverse King Midas, turns fecal and stinks. I mean, she has today, in fact in the last few days, she has been through some sort of ritual humiliation, like the death of a Mesopotamian god king. But there's no rebirth here. There's no rebirth. She's had ritual humiliation. She's accepted, I think, at last, that the budget is the thing that has caused the problem, because she can't wriggle out of it. The more U-turns she does, the more she effectively accepts that she and her mad Chancellor caused the problem in the first place. And if, by any chance, there is a U-turn on corporation tax, which is what is threatened this evening, that is like the icing on the U-turn cake. I don't know whether you can make a U-turn cake. All the icing would presumably fall off. You know, what we need now, simply to save her face, let alone the face of the British government, because it doesn't matter whether you vote for the Conservatives or the Labour Party or the SNP, you don't want the government to be so humiliated. Find a solution. I think the solution has to be a unity candidate as fast as possible. And if that unity candidate is obliged to call an election sometime in the middle of next year, that seems to me to be a reasonable compromise. But even then, it needs to be at a time when the Ukraine-Russian war has eased off. Because we can't have another period of vacuity when there is such international tension. So a unity candidate, who could that be? I think back to the summer when Andrew Morrison, I think it was on Channel 5 or even GB News or something extraordinary, saying Rishi Sunak is the unity candidate. He seems such an obvious candidate. I mean, the Conservative Party could scour its ranks. You have to be very careful with that word. Could scour its ranks to try and find somebody who will bring everyone together. They won't find anybody. So their best option is to go for the next best candidate on the list. That is either Rishi Sunak or Penny Mordaunt. Now, Penny Mordaunt, yeah, there's something to be said about Penny Mordaunt, but she's more of the same. Rishi Sunak brings with him an economic prowess, and also the sense that there is something new. that there is something new. We are turning a corner. And as far as the Middle England Conservatives are concerned, it's a way to make a statement that the Conservative Party is not racist. And that, I think, is something that is also hanging over the Middle England Conservatives who rejected him. We need to go into the next election as a country as positively as we possibly can. And I think it's a certain shoo-in for Sir Keir Starmer. The size of the election result, the size of that majority that he's going to get, is perhaps uncertain at the moment. But the fact that he's going to win, I think, is not uncertain. But what we need to do is to make sure that he's not going to inherit the madness created by this stupid pair, Liz Truss and her henchman Kwasi. It's almost like some Hammer horror film. It is utter madness. Now, the best U-turn that can possibly happen will be managed by somebody new who can literally wipe the entire thing away, but he won't be able to wipe away the effect. That effect, which is felt in the markets, will still be there, but at least there will be a stab at economic and political unity afterwards. And if he reaches out to the Labour Party, and if he were to reach out to the SNP, he might be able to do some good. He might be able to do some good, and to try to ease tensions, because at the moment we look set to destroy our reputation as a G7 country. We look set to destroy our country, to destroy the United Kingdom, and we look set to make the worst of Brexit that we possibly can. And all of this because of 5 minutes of passion for Kwasi's package. Oh, for goodness sake. Liz Truss, grow up, resign, get out.